Retirement is the final chapter of the American dream. But the dream of the golden years is quickly turning into a fairy tale.
Retiring in America today is not easy. It is a very tall mountain to climb.
More than a third of Americans today feel unprepared or unsure if they're on track for retirement. And nearly a third of seniors say they either plan to work through the age of 70 or never retire in their lives.
I'm not wanting to be rich. I just like to have enough to where I could be comfortable.
The pandemic, a war in Europe, rate hikes, as well as fears of a recession have also led to great turmoil in the market, wiping out an estimated $3.4 trillion from retirement accounts during the first half of 2022.
The United States is definitely facing a retirement crisis. If we don't do anything about it, years down the line, you're going to wind up with a lot more seniors in poverty, reliance on public services.
Others say the retirement crisis in America is a myth.
The U.S. retirement system is stronger than it's ever been. Retirement incomes have never been higher. Retirement savings have never been higher. Participation in retirement plans has never been higher. All the things we would like our retirement system to be doing, it is doing.
So is America facing a retirement crisis? And if so, can it be stopped?
My name is Juanita Dykes. I live in Rural Retreat, Virginia. I've been retired for 6 years now. I've had a number of jobs. I've worked in factories all my life. Unfortunately, I didn't listen to people to tell me that I needed to save for retirement. I thought, I would get paid by the government. You'll have enough to live on. Wrong, you don't. I get $1,574 from Social Security. I get $631 from my pension. You pay all your bills, car payment, all your utilities, all your insurance, all that together. It just don't add up.
Americans aren't saving enough for retirement.
I don't have no savings. I'm probably in the red at the bank before you write a check and then you don't have nothing to cover it. Then when you get your next check, all that extra money comes out.
The median retirement account balance for those approaching retirement sat at $89,716 in 2022. That translates to less than $500 per month over a 15-year retirement span.
Baby boomers, they were well into their mid-40s before 401ks came along and they had the opportunity to save. When they entered the workforce, the assumption was Social Security and traditional pensions. Now that they're reaching retirement, the ground rules have changed and the expectations are that they would have saved more along the way.
The last place I worked was just like a factory job, and you got paid, that's it, no extra nothing. We didn't have paid holidays, you didn't have vacation, you didn't have nothing, you just worked.
The other problem is that during times of economic crisis, there's a lot of leakage out of retirement savings plans. Whereas things like pensions and Social Security, they're a lockbox. You don't touch that money no matter what. That is there for your future. IRAs and 401ks often tend to get tapped when people run into unemployment or health issues, medical expenses.
In our own research of retirees, we see that they're doing pretty well. However, they're not financially in a position to absorb a major financial shock. And a big example of that is the high cost of long-term care services and supports. If they have some sort of cataclysmic health crisis or need that long-term care, they just don't have the financial resources to be able to afford it.
1 in 5 Americans aged 65 and older said they spent more than $2,000 out of pocket on healthcare. A separate study found that more than a third of Americans over 65 are worried they're unable to afford healthcare services within the next 12 months.
If you go to a regular doctor, that's covered. But if you go to a specialist, that's like $30. I have an appointment this week with a specialist. I don't have the money to go, so I'll have to call and cancel that and redo it some other time.
Higher life expectancy also means that more retirees can outlive their retirement savings. An analysis by the World Economic Forum found that men live 8.3 years longer than their retirement funds can pay for, while women live 10.9 years longer. younger generations aren't faring any better. About 25% of non-retired adults in America have no retirement savings whatsoever.
A lot of people don't have access, or at least don't have consistent access to an employer-sponsored retirement plan. And we know from the behavioral science research that people don't walk into a bank and say, I want to open up an IRA.
Workers aged 25 to 34 had an average total saving rate of 10.5%, while workers under 25 had a saving rate of 8%, far from the recommended total saving rate of 15%.
And as we look at the changing landscape, especially millennials and Gen Z, they're entering the workforce with student loans, with debt that is unprecedented from earlier generations. Another issue impacting younger generations is they're going to change jobs many times over the course of their careers, as well as spend time in self-employment. So they're going to have to take a much more hands-on, do-it-yourself approach in managing their savings and investments and ensuring that they're saving enough to last their lifetime when they retire.
I have considered going back to work, but I had a knee replacement 2 years ago, and the other one's trying to tell me it's about time for it. So I can't stand very long at a time. I won't say that I won't have to, because I might, if they don't get this Social Security straightened out to where we can have enough to live on.
In 2022, the Social Security Administration estimated that their reserve will deplete by 2034 unless Congress intervenes, putting Social Security benefits under threat.
Because of demographic changes during the 70s and 80s, Social Security built up a large surplus and is now in the process of depleting that surplus.
Once depleted, retirees will only receive 78% of their benefits starting then.
It's not obviously the end of the world, and it doesn't mean Social Security is bankrupt at all, but it does mean a meaningful reduction in benefits that's really going to hurt people, especially at the bottom and even the middle.
Inflation has been the most disruptive force to retirement. A quarter of Americans are expected to delay their retirement due to rising consumer costs.
The worker is now the one that bears the longevity risk and the market risk in retirement.
Market downturns are really the most problematic for people who are about to retire, because that represents a real loss to them, right? As opposed to something that they can recover from over time.
$1 million in a retirement account 2 years ago is worth about $120,000 less today when adjusted for inflation.
If you're retired and on a fixed income, inflation really, really, really hurts. And we've come out of decades of historically low inflation to all of a sudden, a pretty substantial inflation, especially in the things that matter to people, which is, food and fuel.
I'm like anybody else. I like a good steak every now and then. Well, that's just plumb out of the question, because you can't afford to buy that. You just have to buy what you merely have to have, and then hope that you have enough left to pay your bills.
Inflation is higher than we've seen in a long time right now. We don't really know whether this is we're now in an era of high inflation or higher inflation, or whether it is a longer tail from effects of the pandemic.
An ongoing retirement crisis reduces consumption and drains resources, which could be detrimental to the economy as a whole.
In terms of people who wind up falling into economic hardship during retirement, that is something that a lot of states have taken very, very seriously. And they're really concerned about, more and more seniors needing things like food stamps, subsidized housing, right, which is already in very low supply, and also Medicaid.
A hidden impact that doesn't get as much discussion is the impact on families. When an aging parent doesn't have the resources to care for themselves, or maybe they can't afford long-term care, they turn to their adult children. As adult children step in to support them, this detracts from their own ability to save for retirement. So this could create a generational vicious cycle unless we solve for it.
But some argue that the retirement crisis in America is merely a myth.
The U.S. retirement system is strong. The income of the median retiree, the typical retiree in the United States, is at record levels. It's never been higher. Poverty in old age has never been lower. The median U.S. retiree has the highest disposable income in the world, according to the OECD. 40% higher than Germany, 50% higher than the Netherlands. U.S. retirees in surveys are much more likely than European retirees to say they can maintain their pre-retirement standard of living. So all the things we want people to do are going in the right direction.
In 2021, nearly 8 in 10 retirees were confident they'll have enough money to live comfortably throughout retirement, while over 7 in 10 workers agreed with the sentiment.
Nobody really has the incentive to tell the truth about the successes of the U.S. retirement system.
4 in 5 retirees also reported that their overall lifestyle after retirement was as expected or better.
I think everyone agrees there are certain people who are falling behind in their retirement savings. That's true today. It was true in the past. And the question is, what do we do about it? The danger of claiming we have a retirement crisis is that we throw the baby out with the bathwater. We throw out the things that are working for us, and we don't address the problems that really exist.
I think a lot of it is semantics almost. Most researchers do understand that there is a substantial portion of the population that are going to be financially insecure in retirement. There's some debate about whether that's, high 30s, 50s, 60%, but that's not a small portion of the population.
Policy will likely play a pivotal role in improving the state of retirement in America.
Retirement policy is one of the few things in this country that has a long and exemplary history of collaboration among both parties. What we need from a public policy perspective is a broader collaboration among industry, among employers, the great minds, academics, nonprofits, and everyday people to step back and take an even broader look at our retirement system and address the issues that are the greatest detractors of retirement security right now.
The Securing a Strong Retirement Act of 2022 was passed by the House in response to concerns over retirement security. The act includes many benefits that could help more Americans save for retirement, such as automatically enrolling employees into a retirement plan unless they elect not to participate. But issues concerning coverage still needs more attention. Almost half of the employees in the private sector between the age of 18 and 64 aren't provided with options to save for retirement. And about 65% of employees in companies with 10 to 24 employees lack retirement plans.
Improving retirement plan coverage, meaning ensuring that all workers have the ability to save for retirement in the workplace, is paramount to increasing retirement security in the U.S. We need to have a retirement system that is fully inclusive so that people have the opportunity to save, invest, and grow their savings over their lifetime.
Ultimately, retirement security today rests in the hands of future retirees.
Tip number 1, avoid getting overwhelmed. Getting overwhelmed can lead to procrastination and it can lead to inaction, which is counterproductive. Another is create a retirement strategy. Even have some fun with it. Envision what you would like your life to be like in the near future, or if you're younger, far away into the future. And then put some numbers by it. Start building a plan. Seek help if you need it. There are financial professionals available to help you with that. You have to engage. You have to learn as much as possible. So it's up to you to know enough to ask good questions and make informed decisions. It's your retirement.
You need to save. I know when you're young, you think, I don't need to save. I'll do that next time. We'll do this whenever. Do it now, because I'm telling you, you need to. If you plan on living any length of time, you need the extra money.